The proceedings expected to be nothing short of dramatic. We've seen Duduzane in shackles and his supporters engaging in fistfights before. We've even seen DA protesters asking him for selfies. Now, tracking developments for us outside the Randburg Magistrate's Court is our very own Janke Tolmay. Janke, very good morning to you. So, yeah, I suppose lots of drama involving this case, lots of stop and start along the way. So, finally, I suppose, we're hoping that there will be, the truth will come out and justice will be served in the right way in this case.
Yes, it's been quite a long journey for the families of the victims and for Duduzane Zuma himself. As you've mentioned, this happened way back in 2014 after the incident. Initially, the MPA decided that there was insufficient evidence to actually go ahead with the case. The next year, there was an inquest into the incident where there was found that there was negligence on behalf of Duduzane Zuma. Still, the MPA decided to not go ahead with the case. And then, of course, we saw the rights group AfriForum saying that they are considering private prosecution. After that only, we heard last year that the MPA will now go ahead with the charges against Duduzane Zuma. Still then, we saw at least 3 or 4 postponements of this case. And then finally, in January this year, it was set down for today until Friday for the trial to commence. But I think a lot of the focus, as you've mentioned, will be outside the court because there's been quite some drama outside the court during all these appearances from some scuffles with the BLF and journalists even, as well as AfriForum, who we are expecting here again today to support the families. There was a bit of tension and some political parties really using this time to almost campaign ahead of the elections. So it is going to be quite interesting today.
Well, Janke, what's been Duduzane's version of what happened on that day in this incident?
Well, basically what he's saying is that it was an accident, and that's exactly what we heard while why the BLF is supporting Duduzane Zuma, saying that he didn't get up that morning and decide that he was going to go and kill someone. It was an accident, it did happen, but what they're saying is that he... on his part, there was negligence. He was driving recklessly when he slammed into that taxi, instantly killing one woman, and then later also a second woman died in hospital. But what he's saying is that it was merely an accident and that it did not mean to kill anyone. He was not being irresponsible, and therefore he can't be held accountable for the deaths of the two women.
Janke, over the past 5 years, do we know if there's been any attempt by him to meet the families of these women who were killed, even though he says it was never his intention, it was not his fault? Do we know whether there has been any attempt at making amends or contacting them in any way?
Not that we know of, and that's why we saw AfriForum coming out with specifically the Dube family supporting them, and I understand they will, as I've mentioned, be with them again at the court today. And it is quite clear, even Duduzane Zuma supporters saying that they do believe, while they stand with Duduzane Zuma because this is all political and he's being prosecuted because he is a Zuma, they're also saying that they still want justice for the family, but what exactly that will then look like is still unclear. So that's why there was this route of a possible private prosecution, because it seems like the families were left in the cold, no one really supporting the families, and that's why we saw the route that was taken by AfriForum and then finally by the MPA to suddenly then decide to go ahead with this case in 2018 when they made that announcement last year, despite the fact that this happened in 2014 and they said that there were insufficient evidence. So it seems like there hasn't been quite enough support for the families of these victims, and hopefully the next few days will bring that and this chapter to a close.